Hey, what's up everybody? cmdrradix here bringing you another video, and today it is the long-awaited episode of Community Comments. That's right, Community Comments is the show series where I look at the questions you have for yours truly, cmdrradix, here on our monthly series that comes out once every season. So yeah, I'm going to be answering some comments I got in the past today. If you have any questions for me, please leave the comments below in the comment section below, and I will answer them in the next episode of Community Comments. And by the way, I don't know if it will show up on camera, but my ear is bleeding, but not from like the ear hole, but the other side is bleeding. Can I show you the blood? Can I show you the blood? Maybe you don't want to see that. But in case you just see my ear just oozing out blood, that's why it's bleeding. Don't worry about it. Okay, so our first comment is coming from edsbread1422, the profoundly retarded peacemaker himself. Favorite human sidekicks in Transformers? Mine growing up was Kicker. Sorry if you've answered this before. Growing up was Kicker. Oh no, Edsbread, you have exposed yourself as being in the same age bracket as I am. Favorite human sidekicks in Transformers? That's a good question, because very often I get a similar question about what my favorite human character is in the Transformers multiverse, and that is Mercy Gale, but Mercy Gale is not a sidekick, right, in Transformers. So human sidekick, ooh, favorite ones. Kicker, even though I am Transformers Energon's greatest fan, I am Transformers Energon's most loyal soldier. Transformers Energon needs me? I never really cared for Kicker that much. Out of the human sidekicks in Transformers Energon, I think Misha was one of the best human sidekick characters in Transformers in general. Going through the humans in my mind. This is a fun question because I am known for being the guy who says Transformers should initially be set on Earth, that the human characters play an important role in Transformers, and we shouldn't just get rid of the human characters. That being said, it's very hard for me to think of human characters I like in Transformers. G1, none that I particularly care for. It might be Misha. What's her last name? Doesn't she have like some French last name or something that is never said in the show? Misha Miramond, that's her name. Of course, then they go through her name being Mika and Misha, and then Mika, and then Misha. Her deceased parents are Pierre and Oli Miramond. Yeah, she's French for some reason. How many of you knew Misha from Transformers Energon was French? Eric M8110 says, I have a question I've been asking myself for a long time as a fan of the Unicron trilogy. After destroying the Transformers multiverse, would the Unicron singularity have targeted other multiverses until there is no longer a single reality in the Omniverse left? That sounds like a question for my Transformers Lore Q&A series, Transformers More Lore, which the most recent episode of that series came out in like 1984 or something. Not a community comments question, but I will answer it here because why not? I'm feeling generous today. Would the Unicron singularity I guess, you know, that's a hypothetical, that's a counterfactual. You know, the Unicron singularity as a multiversal threat within the Transformers multiverse, that's a good question, because Unicron is not an omniversal singularity, actually. He's multiversal singular. I don't know. I didn't write the series. Then we have Ed's Bread 1422 back at it again. What is a good anime for newborns? Attack on Titan, Darling in the Franxx, Hellsing Ultimate. Yeah, Hellsing Ultimate. That should be. That's how we start it off. You start them off really young, give them a little bit of that Hellsing Ultimate, and then see if they maintain a healthy psyche afterwards. Now, that was actually all the questions on my previous episode of community comments. So I'm going to grab a few comments that I've had in the past, not from the community comments video, but some other comments that I want to comment on. This was on my Actually the Holy Roman Empire was Holy Roman and an Empire video. Battle Pans 1927. I've watched this video a lot, and on my third or fourth rewatch, I'm having trouble verifying the fact that even before Charlemagne, that the popes had any role in choosing the emperor. That's the neat part, they didn't. The pope, in his authority as the head of the church, has the authority, or gives the legitimacy, let's say, in recognizing a Roman emperor. We have to remember that the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire and the Holy Catholic Church, or the Holy Roman Church, are kind of seen as two lungs, to use a certain phrase, of one body, in a way. The Holy Roman Empire is to govern the secular world. The Holy Roman Church is to govern the spiritual world, right? And they're supposed to work together in symphonia, would be the Byzantine term for it. The role of the Roman Empire, of the Roman Emperor, is in itself a type of iconographic incarnation, let's say, of the kingdom of heaven in a way, but also the kingdom of Israel. Not to the degree in which, Christ was that, but you get the idea, that the Roman Empire is playing a role in society. And the Roman Empire would have its way of selecting new emperors, right? Now, what happens when the Roman Empire falls apart, when the Western Roman Empire is gonzo, right? You have the Eastern Roman Empire going on, but the Eastern Roman Empire is under the rule of an empress, which raises a lot of questions in the theology of what the Roman Empire was, okay? The Pope wouldn't, coronate an emperor before Charlemagne, but in the situation in which we find ourselves in the creation of the Holy Roman Empire, the only institution left that can give legitimacy to a new Roman emperor, which is needed in the West, would be the Pope. This is something that's in the theology of how the church works with the Roman Empire. This isn't something you can find like a precedent for. It's not like, popes have always crowned the Roman emperor. This is not that. This is the Roman Empire is in shambles. It's fallen apart. What, you could argue is the vestige of the Roman Empire in the East. The Eastern Roman Empire is, not protecting Rome, not protecting the West. It's having its own problems. The church needs the empire to sort of defend it within its borders, and what's the natural next step of what institution is left, what can give legitimacy to a new Roman emperor that has no institutional ties to the previous Roman emperors of the West. That would be the Pope. On my Transformers Lore Beast Wars Uprising Part 1, Alone Together, we have Ace. A classic. I still ship these two. Please don't. The Rampage Transmutate relationship in Beast Wars Uprising really... I think you're missing a lot out of that relationship and out of that story if you try to boil it down to some sort of romantic ship. I am not a fan of the Rampage Transmutate ship. On my video thinking about the Lotus Eaters, Osmic126 has a bit of a parallel to social media. You have made the subtext text. That was the point. That was what I was talking about in that Lotus Eaters. What I was talking about in that Lotus Eaters video was about vegging out after work. You know, coming home after work, not doing your hobbies, not doing anything. Here it is. Here I am at 9:19 p.m. A very tired boy, recording my videos because there's something more to life than just vegging out after work. And so social media is a part of that. This was on my video about the Dark Spark. Nomad X83 says, first of all, the Dark Spark clearly shine of Dark Energenon in opposition to the Matrix of Leadership. I think the Dark Spark come from one of the places from where the Dark Energon originate from. Beautifully put. Clearly? There's nothing clear about the Dark Spark. Let me be clear on that. From one of the places where Dark Energon comes from. So Unicron, which I believe was one of the possible sources listed in the video. A bunch of Cyrillic letters comments. I had to comment seeing this title, Ain't No Way. Well, what video was this commented on? Is Hanako Hitler? Let's Play Katawa Shoujo Part 17 Valentine's Day stream. Fun fact, I think that was my first live stream ever. The Is Hanako Hitler live stream. It's titled that because I had no idea what I was supposed to title that stream. This was on my Butcher of the Empire video on Bannister Tarleton. Anthony Troy C 6682 says, I always thought Tarleton was born in America because 1/3 of colonists supported the crown and 1/3 of the colonists supported the American Revolution. The War of Independence had all the characteristics of a civil war. This is very interesting to me. This is a wild comment to me because we know enough about the American Revolution to break down the different proportions of people supporting the war or against the war, but we don't know enough to know that Bannister Tarleton, one of the greatest officers in the British military in the American Revolution, was British. I don't know, I think about that a lot. I think about this comment a lot. You know, it's like, I didn't know Hitler was from Austria, considering he was the... And then, like, breaking down all these details about Hitler. Learning617 says, dork. Dork. How dare you? What video did you find it appropriate to call me a dork on? Transforming Transformers, the symbolism of Transformers #1, where I begin to interpret the Transformers franchise through the lens of orthodox phenomenology. You might be right. Eric M8110 says, this is on the story about Unicron saving the multiverse. I'll be honest, I hate this story, and I say that as someone who loves Japanese media. Beast Wars Neo was the perfect ending. Unicron was defeated, and the Maximals and Predacons made peace. I've grown attached to all the characters from Beast Wars 2nd and Neo, and to write a story where they all die is just disrespectful. I hard disagree with this comment. Is disrespectful where they all die? They don't... Did you think they were immortal? You know, this is a story set in the far, far, farthest possible future, right? Surprise, you will die one day. I feel like this has been happening a lot on this channel. I've been reminding my viewers that they will die one day. You will die one day. In the logic of the Transformers universe, the Beast Wars 2nd and Neo characters will die one day. They aren't killed off screen in some violent battle, right? They just die. There is nothing disrespectful about that. Plus, we have to remember that Unicron is reviving the universe. Unicron is bringing everything back to life. Unicron is defeating death, shall we say. I'm recording this on Bright Tuesday, by the way. So I'll be honest with you, Eric, I think you have misunderstood the story. Aquiles the Heretic Slayer, oh boy. I think, this was on my Devoid video, I think the only reason Devoid chose to use Decepticons and the sweeps is simply because how these Cybertronians are more susceptible to violence than the Autobots, more than it's believe in the Decepticon cause, or simply Devoid likes them more than Autobots. Maybe Megatron's willpower is just that powerful. Okay, so the sweeps, the Decepticons, and Drift are getting sucked up into the D-Void, right? Is Drift more susceptible to violence than the Autobots? Keep in mind, this is the IDW universe, where the Autobots are pretty violent, right? You don't see Cliffjumper get sucked up into the D-Void, and the IDW universe makes it very clear Cliffjumper is kind of like a crazy assassin. If I remember correctly, I think Perceptor is there, and Perceptor has become a crazy sniper at this point in time. Maybe Perceptor isn't there. I don't remember. There's a lot of Autobots that are just as prone to violence, if not more so, than Drift. Why is Drift getting sucked into the D-Void? It seems to me more like the writers just decided to say, oh, the Decepticons go into D-Void because they're evil, and Drift was a Decepticon once. Yeah, and the Sweeps are Decepticons, right? Because I saw Transformers the movie, and I don't remember that in the IDW universe the Sweeps aren't Decepticons. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode of Community Comments. We covered questions and comments across a wide range of subjects here today. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions for me, preferably not Transformers lore questions, although they can be about Transformers, but not like a specific lore question, leave the comments in the comment section below. And that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on social media. All the links are in the description. And have a great day, ladies and gentlemen.